Return on investments should be 7 to 10% tax-free. In this episode, I'm going to address the question, what return on investment should I expect in retirement? I've been asked that question many times. When I tell you that it should be 7 to 10% tax-free, people go, what's tax-free? Well, you're about to learn how to create predictable rates of return totally tax-free in that 7 to 10% range, which is more than double what most firms provide for their retirees when they try to project retirement income. So, I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a retirement planning specialist for more than 46 years, and I've helped many thousands of people who come to educational events, live seminars, webinars. I've written 11 books. I've helped people empower their authentic wealth, optimize assets, minimize unnecessary taxes. And so in educating people for now 80,000 hours of my life, I've been asked this question many times. What return on investment should I expect during retirement? Well, that depends. Where do you have your money? If it's sitting in a bank or a credit union, hello, it's going to be pretty pathetic, 1 or 2%. And people say, well, I think it's safe there. Safe from the negative impact of inflation? No. I mean, you're earning 1% and inflation's 5 or 6%. You're going backwards financially. When people say, what rate of return can I expect? It's a function of, well, the industry calls it risk tolerance. What is your risk tolerance? If you want high returns, you're going to have to incur higher risks, correct? So the higher return, the higher the risk, and then you could lose money, especially during market crashes. The fact of the matter is, Dalbar, who studies investor behavior, says that people who have their money in the market in retirement, which is really the worst thing you could do. I can't believe how many people are way too top heavy with money in the market when they retire, and I'm going, what are you thinking? So I usually advise them to get the money out, at least in a 5-year period, maybe a 10-year period, and get it out of that market volatility. I would say that no more than 30% of your retirement income should come from money that's in the market. My favorite vehicle is tax-free. You link your return to the market, but your money's not at risk in the market. And that's where I earn predictable rates of return between 7 and 10%. I'll explain that, which means every $1 million can generate $70,000 to $100,000 a year of tax-free income without depleting your $1 million nest egg. It will go on as long as you live, okay? Not very many investments can do that. Money in the market, according to Dalbar, people only average about 3.49%. Now, if you bought and held, you might earn 9.14 to be exact, if you take any 20-year period since the Great Depression and you took the average. But you're not netting 9. If you have 9% in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k, you're only netting 6% in a 33% bracket. Most people are only earning 3.5 because they're buying and they're selling at the wrong times. Most people, when they see the market lose 10, 20, 30, finally it starts to hit 40% loss. And it's done that several times in the last 20 years. They go, enough already, and they pull their money out, they sell low, and then they wait until it's up here, and then they buy high. No, and that's why the average investor return for a retiree is only 3.49%. That's why Dalbar says, golly, that's pretty pathetic, and the financial services industry says, you know what? If their money is in the market, don't illustrate any more than 4% payout. On $1 million, that's 40 grand a year. But that's not what you're netting. You got to pay tax. Even in 25% tax bracket, you pull out $40,000 out of an IRA or 401k, you're going to pay $10,000 or more in taxes. You're only netting $30,000. Most advisors charge you 1% asset management. On $1 million, that's 10 grand. Subtract that out of that 4%. Now you're only netting 2%. That's pretty pathetic. I mean, I don't save $1 million to have a measly $20,000 net to buy gas and groceries, prescriptions, golf green fees, and retirement. I would rather earn 11 and net 10, which is what I've done for the last 25 years using indexed universal life insurance contracts, where I take the least amount of death benefit that the IRS allows and I put in the most money as fast as the IRS allows, and it turns into this tax-free cash cow that I have earned 11 netting 10. Now some years I've earned 25 and netted 24, 16 netted 15. Some years I don't make any money, but conservatively I have averaged between 7 to 10%, but the last about 27 years now, I've averaged 11.17 because I use indexing and I use rebalancing. I want you to search on this channel for YouTubes that I record and teach you about those two strategies. But I would recommend that you take money out of the market to where you might earn 3.5% and move your rate of return up to 7, 8, 9, 10% and turn it into tax-free by doing a strategic rollout. If it's in an IRA or 401k, get the money out, the tax is over and done with, reposition it into something that's going to be tax-free from now on. You eliminate the dangers of taxes. You have inflation work for you instead of against you because you're linking your returns to the things that inflate. If inflation is 10, I've earned 15.5 or more. If inflation goes to 20, I earn 25 or more. So you're linking your returns to the things that inflate, so it doesn't hurt you, it helps you. But you want to earn predictable rates of return that historically have beaten inflation, and it's tax-free, and you're not subject to the market volatility. When the market goes down, you almost cheer, go. When the market goes up, you get to participate. So let me share with you an actual example of how powerful this can be. So let me give you an example of a couple that came to me, and they were pretty proud of themselves. They had accumulated $2.5 to $3 million in their IRAs and 401ks, but they were yet to be taxed. And they were trying to assume that they would earn maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8%. And I go, not if you're like most retirees, but I would not leave it in those IRAs or 401ks and take out required minimum distributions. That's the advice they were given by their CPA. I said, no, let's do a strategic rollout, not a rollover, a rollout. So we took 5 years and we got the money out of those IRAs and 401ks, and we got the taxes over and done with sooner than later. It was a little bit painful, but I said, you will like this, you will see. I felt like Sam I Am in Green Eggs and Ham. You will like this, you will see. Oh no, we don't want to. But then at the end, they were going, thank you, Sam I Am. We like these green eggs and ham because here's what happened. When I first met them, their portfolio looked like it was going to generate about $200,000 a year of income. And they were proud of that, and they should have been. I said, well, the biggest problem that I see is that all of that $200,000 of annual income is showing up on your 1040 annual tax return. They said, well, is there another way? I go, yes. Well, we weren't aware of it. I said, yeah, usually I'm curing people's tax disease at retirement. So I showed them a 5-year plan where we got the money out of those accounts. Not all of it. I couldn't do all of it, but they had probably $40,000 coming in from the wife's school teaching pension, a little bit of Social Security. We didn't count that in here, but the problem was about $120,000 of it was in yet to be taxed IRAs or 401ks in the market. And I said, that's dangerous. So it took 5 years, but we got 60% of their money rolled out from yet to be taxed IRAs or 401ks. We got the taxes over and done with in today's lower rates rather than thinking the future tax rates are going to be lower. Hello? No. Even though it was painful, when we got the money repositioned, we were able to earn some very good rates of return during the rollout process. So we ended up with $2 million net after tax and everything, and the money that we made, we ended up with $2 million that had already had the taxes taken care of. And we took them from one of the highest tax brackets down to a 0% tax bracket in 5 years. That's why they were saying, thank you, Sam I Am. I like these tax-free green eggs and ham. Now, in their case, I wasn't able to take 100% of their income to a 0% tax bracket, but on 60% of their money. See, I would recommend that 40 to 60% of your money be in what I call a tax-free bucket. That's not municipal bonds. That's not Roths. My favorite vehicle is called the Laser Fund. It's what many savvy CPAs and tax attorneys call the rich man's Roth. It has the two benefits of a Roth. You accumulate your money tax-free and you can take it out tax-free. But for additional benefits that Roths will never have, I explain these benefits and advantages in other YouTube videos on this channel. The point is this: I was able to reposition $2 million net after tax. That $2 million now is earning a tax-free rate of return, usually at worst 10-year periods since the Great Depression, 7.23%. But the average the last 25 years has been 10.07. What's 10% on $2 million? 200 grand, tax-free. Now, I was able to take at least 60% of their income off of their 1040 tax return. Now, don't get me wrong, the IRS knows they're receiving this $200,000, but they know it's tax-free. The IRS knows everything. It's not even worth auditing because it's been grandfathered as a sacred cow in the Internal Revenue Code for over 100 years. The point is this: we were able to move 60% of their retirement income off of their 1040 tax return, and we saved them an additional $1 million over the next 20 years by taking that money off of their tax return. If they had left it in their IRAs and 401ks, they would have paid tax every year on that money. And at the end of 20 years, they would have paid an additional $1 million of unnecessary tax. This is something we do all the time. If you want to learn if this makes sense for you, let me show you how you can learn more and get enlightened. You can earn 8% tax-free, but actually take out 10% in an index universal life. In other words, every million, if it's earning 8%, that's $80,000 a year. And people say, wait a minute, if you're only earning $80,000, how can you take out $100,000 and never deplete your principal? That's because of the magic of how we teach people to use indexed universal life and take out your money the smart way. We have people all the time. Every $1 million generates $100,000 a year of cash flow without depleting principal, even if they're only earning 8%. Now people say, how can you do that? It's explained in my 11th book I call the Laser Fund. I call a max funded index universal life the Laser Fund. Laser means liquidity, safety, predictable rates of return, LSR, liquidity, safety, rate of return, and I prefer tax-free. This is a 300-page book. This has helped many, many people save $500,000, $1 million too. You'll read stories in here of how we have helped people save money in taxes in excess of $1 million in retirement versus leaving it in their IRAs and 401ks and paying unnecessary tax the rest of their lives. So the book is yours for free. I'll pay for the book. You pay $5.95 shipping and handling. Here's how you claim your free copy. You go to Laser Fund, L-A-S-E-R, laserfund.com. Pay $5.95 shipping and handling. I'll pay for the book. I'll fire it out to you. There's audio and video training there also if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn. You can learn by charts and graphs. You flip the book over and there's 62 actual client stories similar to the ones I shared with you briefly. And this will empower you to be able to approach retirement the best way and not outlive your money.